Right. England, England lost in the final of the Euros. Uh, tough one. Tough one to swallow, man. What are your initial thoughts so far? It's been
I
a
think
day
after
now. It's been a day. It's been a day now. Have you had
less
a
than a
chance to
day.
recover?
Well, no, I definitely agree with what people say about the last one hurt more, probably because penalties and we were at home and there was probably like Italy probably were a better team overall, but not as like Spain was in this tournament. So I mean, I think, as soon as the game ended, my first thought was, "How's the ref blown it then?" And then the second was like, fair enough, like the better team did win it. You
How
can't
many
really
was
say.
it? 4 added minutes. 4 added minutes, and
What
I
are the
think
minutes? And
we
three of
played
them were just
like.
Spain on the floor.
Look, I know there's a lot of people online, yeah, that are anti-England and stuff, so they're going to be like, "Oh, first thing you talk about is you're complaining about added time at the end of the game, like it makes a difference." I mean,
Yeah,
to
we
be
probably weren't
fair,
going to
probably
score.
weren't going to score, but like,
No.
but it's still. I think the ref was kind of. I mean, I'm not going to make it an excuse anyway, but he was
I,
poor. I don't think I've never really seen this ref before in a
I don't know.
big
I thought he
stage.
was fine. I don't think he like did
That's
anything too bad. I don't think he. I mean, when he goes to like 95 minutes when there's only 4 minutes, then Spain are complaining like throwing their hands up in the clock. So can't make everyone happy. But we probably weren't going to score. But yeah, I mean, like I
we got to
said,
talk about. Yeah, we got to talk. Firstly, I think we got to talk about the game. Um,
yeah.
this game specifically because obviously, um, one team was the clear favorite. Let's be real. Everyone knew Spain was the favorite for this game before the ball was kicked. They've been the best team this tournament by far, undoubtedly. I think everyone will agree on that. Um, but obviously, as a fan of any club, nation, whatever, when you go into a final, you always have like the hope that like you can
It's
pull
knockout
something off,
football.
snatch and
Yeah,
grab, whatever you want to call it, like,
exactly.
or you never know what can happen. Um, I think, yeah, let's break down the game first against Spain, and then we can deal with, like overall the tournament, what needs to
Yeah.
happen going forward,
Yeah,
this
let's
sort of
do it.
stuff. So I think, firstly, what do you make of the game? I mean, like, in terms of like, I know Spain probably slightly edged it if you were to say, which team had the better performance. But
Oh yeah.
what would you make of sort of how England played to how you expected them to play, how competitive they were actually to, compared to the best team in the tournament? What do you think overall?
Well, I mean, comparing performances, I think if you were to rank the 14 games played by both teams in this whole tournament, you'd put Spain's seven first, and then you'd put England seven. That's just how it goes. England, Spain have been the better team overall in general. The actual game we watched last night, I mean, Spain, their passing was fluid. They enthralled England. Ran out. It feels like they ran out of options. At points, Pickford was just kicking it long, and even when we did try and play out from the back, there wasn't any like passing systems or patterns of play that were recognizable. It's been pretty much the same throughout the games. To be honest with you, I mean, I think people were clutching onto the fact that we have star players that could win us a game, and that's probably how we were going to win it if we did relying on moments of individual brilliance because that's how we've got to this position in the first place.
I know, man, but like we're here, like we've had so many of these conversations. Honestly, like it gets boring with England, like having sometimes to discuss a lot of these same points we're mentioning again and again. And it's not like it's like circumstantial where like it's like one game you have these issues, another game you have different issues, one game you play. It's like it's always the same things we're talking about with England.
Yeah.
It's the style of play, it's the playing good football. It's the sitting back. It's the relying on moments. And luckily, we've got a generation now that, like there's players in there that have got moments and that do like carry the team through
I
and
just
stuff.
think we see some of these our players playing teams that play a really attacking possession based style of football. City, Arsenal, Madrid when they play in like La Liga and things like that. So and
Pain at
Bayern
Bayern, yeah, yeah.
exactly. So I wonder what these guys think when they actually come together and they play like that. Like it must just feel black and white when you go from club football to the England team. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like my data and stats and stuff. It just shows. So John Stones, guess where his most amount of passes went last night.
Pickford.
Yeah. It's
It makes
just
sense.
it just shows the negative, and I don't know if it's a lack
Backwards,
of confidence to
sideways
pay it
passes.
forward. I mean, some of okay, like our midfield didn't have a great game. Like I can't you can't blame any players, but some players looked like the lights maybe were too bright. I mean, Mainu, he's only 19, he's gonna be a fantastic player. He already is a great player, but he just looked a bit lost and didn't have a lot of help. I don't think Rice had the best game in two games, to be honest, the semi and the final. I don't think we fed Saka enough at all. I think if we just gave the ball to him and let him do his thing, we would have had much more joy. And that's how the goal actually came that we
Yeah,
scored.
yeah.
I think Foden should
Right.
have come off before for Cole Palmer. I like the change with Watkins. Kane, I'm sure we'll talk about Kane in more detail, but everyone knows what their opinion is on him. I thought Jude actually had an okay. I don't know why people are sort of slating Jude. I think he fought quite hard and he had some good moments. Spain, the team that had the most cohesion rather than the star power, won the game. And sometimes that's just how football games go. When you see it, you can't say it's a big um like David and Goliath type game where Spain were the huge favourites and it'll be a massive upset if England won. Like it wasn't like that. You just had the team with the better cohesion, understanding patterns of play, um, along with moments of brilliance with like Lamine and Nico Williams lining up the tournament. I mean, I think the whole build up, Spain's well, English pundits were saying, no, Lamine is like you have to watch out for him. Shaw did a number on him, like Shaw had a
First
great
half, he was non-existent. Lamine
exactly.
Yamal.
Shaw had a great game. And then we look at the other side, and it's the same guy that seems to be at fault for a lot of our goals in Kyle Walker. And I think if you go on a lot of City fan accounts, for like 18 months, they've probably been saying the same thing where Walker's not been good enough for City, even though City have been great. Um, and Nico Williams steals the show, man of the match performance. And
It's kind of been the same with Spain. I mean, like it's been like the semi-final, Lamine was the one who took over and kind of stood out.
yeah,
And the game before, I think who was it against in the quarters where um like they were kind of both in and around. And then obviously in the against Georgia, Nico was man of the match and like carried it forward. And in the final, obviously Nico kind of took forward as well. Like I feel like it's like when you nullify one of them, which in this case Lamine was kind of nullified in that first half by Shaw, you still have on the other side, if they see they can't really go down the right hand side with Lamine, they just go down the left with Nico, and they have that ability to do
exactly.
that.
You have two or three other players who will hurt you. I mean, Olmo in the second half was like
He's so
I
good,
thought
man.
he
I
was
can't like
gonna definitely do something. Uh,
he's so good. Like the thing is with him as well, like it's them like in tight spaces, his ability to find a pass or like get out of a tight situation where like
yeah,
it's only a small mold of player that can kind of like do
yeah, yeah,
that. And
yeah.
it causes it just
Turned
causes
into
so
one
much
of my favorite
chaos.
players to watch now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This
I'm definitely gonna
tournament,
watch him
I
more.
think I think if we don't know if we talk about it, but I think he was robbed of probably the player of the tournament even. I
Yeah,
feel like him, Fabian, these sort of players had like, they had outstanding tournaments. Like they were just so good throughout. And I mean, you could give it to anyone, obviously in that Spain squad, but he was really one that I think even yesterday proved it causes so much problems for teams.
yeah. I think there's two or three players which probably could have got best player of the tournament rather than who got it. But
Yeah. But I
regardless,
mean,
it's
yeah, this is what I'm saying. I think I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of like the each player's role in the team, especially where you were saying with Saka should have been fed more because that's where the threat was. The liability of England, as you said, is that right back position, which is crazy to think because that is probably
we've
England's
had so
strongest
many right backs.
position. In
Yeah, yeah,
that is in terms of depth and the level of player. There's no nation that even comes close to England's right back depth. And it's not some people call it arrogance and stuff like that, but it is facts. I feel like if you have a fully fit Reece James, which is obviously a big if,
yeah.
you still have Trent obviously, and you have Kyle Walker who's obviously downwards, but over the last 2 3 years they've been like the best right backs in the world. So um, it's like it's crazy to think that's the weakest position in the team when it's meant to be the strongest.
I I think um Southgate at times just relies on experience and maybe who they know as a player, because Kyle Walker's been playing for England probably well, longer than Southgate's been England manager, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you think at some point, seeing the goals that we're conceding, it comes from the right side. I mean, I can't believe when it was like the 80th minute, we probably didn't bring on Trent because we brought on players who would run in behind.
He was going to bring Trippier on
Well,
before the
yeah, this
goal.
goes under the radar that the fact that
He,
when Spain
he was going to
scored
bring
the
Gallagher and
second
Trippier
goal,
on.
Gallagher and Trippier were going to come on. So I don't know what they're thinking behind that. But at the same time, like, I'm not. I've seen people say Southgate like just fuck off, just going out. So I don't. I just feel like he's got to a ceiling, and you have to say, that just happens. He doesn't have the huge club experience. He doesn't. Like, you can't fault him. Like in the decision that actually happened in the game. Okay, Gallagher and Trippier might come on, but I don't think anyone can say, yeah, Watkins coming on. What the fuck was that all about? Or Cole Palmer coming on. What the fuck? Like, or Mainu coming off. Like, no way. Why did we? No one can really fault those decisions. It's the fact that they were probably the right decisions. And when we scored the equalizer, I'm like, holy shit, we're in a great position here.
Yeah.
Like it's the 72nd minute or something. We've scored. We're on top for the last 5 minutes. Let's go fucking push for 2-1. And then if we score, okay, then bring on fucking Konsa or Gallagher.
Someone defensive.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is perfect. This is like exactly like what we want to happen.
Game management. But yeah, now
Um,
now that you mentioned Southgate, I think we could dive into, like what the situation was here with him is
yeah,
whether he should
yeah,
stay, whether he should not. And I think one thing I will say, yeah, is I think that the debate around him, especially yesterday, I think a lot of people, I saw a few people saying this as well, and I think I definitely agree with it. That's like every manager, right, has their own philosophy, their own style of play, their own way that they understand the game. Because as a manager, obviously, when you go into a job, um, you have your own understanding of how football should be played, and then you tailor all your stuff around that, around achieving that style of play. So your training sessions, the way you mentally prepare your players, all this stuff, and
yeah.
you're used to that. That's like your experience in a job is being built on that ethos and that way, like that methodology.
Well, the position
So
you play as well. He was a defender.
exactly, he's a defender as well. Exactly, that's another thing. So when he goes into the job, I understand with the pool of talent England have, the style of play should be different. But with him being employed himself, he can't change his ethos, his methodology, his style of play according to those players when he doesn't know how he would implement that in the right way. Because he
Yeah.
obviously feels like I'm in this job, I need to achieve the best results. It's a results-based thing. If I go on, win this tournament, like I'm gonna get the credit. Obviously, he will get some of the credit for it. So I need to play the style of play I know, not what people are demanding of me to risk then becoming even more of like a shit show basically in the national team. And I think that's one thing. And I think another big thing is that um there's a lot in England, there's a lot of media pressure to play certain players. And
Yeah.
I think this is something that I don't really see a lot in other nations where they kind of just trust the manager to pick the right players to play the right way. And with England, there's this now because of this generation, how good there's a lot of it. There's so much attacking talent in this England team that there's so much pressure from fan bases, from ex-legends, from all this stuff to play certain players, no matter what. Even if it fucks up the way the team play, even if like certain players playing worse because they have to accommodate for someone else, they just have to shoehorn these players in. And this is what fucked up the golden generation and is potentially going to fuck up this generation as well. If you have a certain pool of player, yeah, no matter who it should be, your objective is to get the best out of the team. Yeah. If certain players hinder the objective, like the way the team plays, they don't have to play. If you have no left winger on the pitch and you're shoehorning a number eight or a number 10 in at left wing, it's not going to benefit the team in any way, shape, or form. You have to play the players in their right positions. Look at all the top nations right now. Which team is shoehorning? Imagine like I don't know if you could give me an equivalent of like imagine like someone I don't know like Ilkay Gundogan, yeah, for Germany. Imagine him being played at left wing or something like that, you're hindering his game and you're hindering the game of people around him because he's not used to, he's never played in that position. He's not, and I think the same thing, we're looking at Jude Bellingham yesterday, for example, and I think a few other games this tournament, he's playing him at left wing. Jude Bellingham's never played in left wing in his life. He's never played it at Madrid. He's never played it at Dortmund. He's never played at Birmingham even. And he's getting put there to accommodate for Foden playing in the number 10. When you have players like Anthony Gordon on the bench, you have Marcus Rashford who stayed at home. You have even players like Jack Grealish who are natural left wingers who can provide what the team needs in these cases, which is a transitional left winger. A lot of the time, England, as you said, we discussed this before, they sit back, they kind of absorb pressure, and they hit on the transition or the counter. You need wingers for that. You need fast wingers that are going to be good on the transition, run in behind, and cause problems for a team. By playing a Jude Bellingham at left wing, you're hindering uh, all the basically the whole midfield because you got no width to stretch the team and open up space in the middle of the pitch. You're hindering Harry Kane's performances, who's probably your best striker in terms of your most clinical striker. And yeah, we can criticize his game and all this and that, but he's not being played in the right way, in the right system. 100%, no one can deny that. And you're tailoring all this in this case because there's media pressure to play Phil Foden in the number 10 because he's coming back off the season he's had at Man City. For me, and I want to hear from you because I've blabbered on a lot about this, yeah. But I feel like this is one of the most critical elements of why this team is not playing the way it should be, is because there's too much pressure to play certain players in positions that are not their natural positions, and it's hindering the overall like st style of play of the team and everything. And I don't know what you think about this because I think we've had this discussion many times before, and I think that there's always the same points that are coming up and always the same discussion points. But that's just, I feel like that's just one of the main issues.
Yeah, I mean, before the tournament, I'm a big Foden fan. I was like, yeah, we have to play Foden 10.
I agree.
After seeing what he's done in the tournament, I mean, he's had like 20 minutes of good stuff, maybe. But yeah, you just have to at some point admit, like, "Phew, it's not working now. Play someone who actually performs in that position and get someone else on." But I think that's the most frustrating thing that people is that are thinking about is that we have the players to play like Spain do. We have the potential to fucking dominate tournaments with the players we have, but it just doesn't happen. And I think, of course, that comes down to the manager, but you just have to say where he's taken us into a good position to transition into a better team. All our players are still young. It's not like we have one tournament left to win something, but maybe now is a good time, like along with all these questions about his future, they come at a time where it's like, all right, so now it's a good transition. Thank you, Mr. Southgate. You've turned England football into something that the country's invested in again, because after the Iceland and like the Allardyce stuff, like Wembley wasn't even getting filled with fans for England games. So the nation's fallen in love and like they want to watch England again. So
Yeah.
and that's probably the main thing that he said he wanted to do when he came in the job. It's that he's done that. And I think and now I think he'll step down personally just because of the pressure the job has for the last, what, I don't know, 8 years. I think he'll recognize himself that the performances this tournament and um, maybe previously have not been the best, and that he can't do much more. And I'd respect him more for that because you say like, look, I've done my best I can, and you know, and even then he's taken us to two finals, a semi-final, and a quarter-final. I mean, statistically, is that the best England manager statistically?
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So it's not like
In
everyone's
terms
like,
of yeah, like his success rate over the years, yeah, 100%. I
yeah.
don't
So no one is going to bash him if he wants to leave. I think people will be disappointed if he stays a bit longer. And I know even last year, a year ago, people were saying like, let's get a new manager in now to prepare for this Euros. Um. So yeah, I personally think he'll step down next few days. I think that's the right thing to do. I think some players in the squad need to actually as well think about their position in the national team and if it's the best decision for the team going forward.
yeah.
I've got a couple words for Kyle Walker specifically. Um, Al Ittihad's one. Al Nassr is another one. Salt Lake City, New York City FC, Inter
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Miami.
If he's feeling like I want something different, you got like Shanghai SIPG,
Yeah, exactly. You
you got
got plenty of choice,
Guangzhou,
mate.
yeah, you got yeah,
Um,
Melbourne.
we shouldn't rely on someone who can run fast in a straight line anymore when we have an abundance of right backs. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the goals we've conceded, and I thought Switzerland he was at fault for. The two last night he was at fault for. Um, I don't even remember the other games. I mean, all the games up until like Switzerland, I was fucking wanting the other team to win against England. To be honest, I'll say that straight up because after watching the first game, I was thinking this is going to be shit. The whole tournament just get it done with, knock us out. But then it gets to a
I
point
think
where
we all just I think we were
win.
just like exactly yeah, we were just like might as well just get knocked out rather than go through like the emotion of oh yeah we've won just to get as soon as we come up against the big nation just to get
Yeah.
whitewashed and like it's
And
gone.
you know what? This tournament, compared to every single tournament I've ever watched, watching football, right? For some reason, this one, hate watching has become such a big thing.
It, you know what? It's because people just bored, man. You just the games have been so boring that people just like I
People are
need
more
some.
interested in to watch players they hate do bad
Yeah,
than
yeah,
like
it's
watch
true.
their
It's
team do
true.
well.
Hate
And I was
watching is the
part of
new
that. I
thing.
was a part of that, you know. I
You
will
were one of the
admit,
biggest I've seen, bro.
I'm not gonna lie,
Like it's
I was,
you're
but
one of
now
the biggest I've seen.
I'm tired of it. I'm not gonna do it anymore. It's just too much energy for nothing. So
Yeah.
but overall this Euros, what's your opinion though? Overall, what's the quality been like? I can see your face, and I'll probably have the same answer.
Yeah, I can't lie, man. Like, obviously, watching every England game's been just like I can't lie. What was the day that we there was a 5 p.m. games and they were like so good, like they were actually and then England played at I think it was the last games of the group. I forgot who was it at
Oh,
5
there was
p.m.
two nils in Group C.
Yeah, it was England's group with nil nils and they were the 8 p.m.s, but the games at
Yeah,
five were like actually decent. And
I
I
feel
was
like
like,
Belgium or something.
yeah, it might have been. I don't know. I forgot who it was. But yeah, like I feel like it's just this. No, it was Turkey. It was Turkey. I think it was Turkey against oh, who did they play the last game? Czech Republic, I think, and then Portugal against Georgia or something. But no, I feel it's just like this whole tournament, I think it's the worst I've seen in my lifetime. International tournament, it's been the most boring, like overall, that I've ever seen. Like, there's been a handful of games that have been genuinely like good games, and then the rest of them have just been like, there's been like two, three teams that have genuinely entertainment-wise carried the tournament, which have been like Spain. You've had like Turkey, even there's certain games. You had I don't know,
Austria in the group.
Austria was very good in the groups. Um, Germany was all right at certain times. Played like good football, but like oh, England, France, Italy, um, Netherlands, like all these teams were just so boring, man, to watch. Like I don't
Hmm.
know what it is, if it's football's going this way or if it's just this one-off international tournament, but it was just so cagey. It's so there's barely any chances, just passive football. Like I don't know, like we've watched a lot of the games together, and it's just like international tournaments. Usually, you're kind of gassed because it's like it's a different vibe. Like you have like passion, you have like fan bases, like atmospheres creating like good games and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. This season is really like it's been
It's
dead.
probably how football is going, right? You know, I think the overall quality of games have. I mean, there's more goals in games, but the way they're being scored and the way it's being played
Yeah,
is
yeah,
maybe not as exciting. But fuck, I forgot what I was going to say now. Um, oh yeah, yeah. I think the fact that there was so going into the tournament, when people would say like, "Oh, who do you think is going to win it?" I would always say that I'd be like, I think there's like three teams that I definitely think will be in the latter stages, and maybe like five teams that will get far.
yeah.
I don't think it helped the tournament that there was like seven, eight teams that could maybe win it. There was no clear favorite until maybe we watched like first round of group games and everyone was like, "Oh shit, Spain looked pretty good. Oh,
Yeah,
Germany."
Spain weren't the clear favourites before the
No,
tournament. It was only
exactly. So I don't
after.
think that helped because people were like, maybe going into the World Cup, for example, it's a bad example because it was the middle of the season, players at peak fitness and stuff like that, and compared to like this tournament end of the season.
Yeah, yeah.
But World Cup, people were like, yeah, Argentina are going to be there, yeah, France are going to be there, and then you had some other teams that maybe could get far, but um, everyone was looking out for France, everyone was looking out for Argentina. And yeah, that World Cup was just insane. It was probably one of the best World
It
Cups
was the
I've
best
had.
international tournament we've ever seen.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
think
terms of
about
like
it.
quality of football, in terms of like
Yeah.
just entertainment, the whole storylines and everything. That final
We
was the
fucking
greatest
went from
final.
like 20 added minutes in those
It was
games.
crazy, man.
Last second
What's
goal.
going on with these rules, man? Like one
Yeah,
moment
there's no
there's no
connect between like
consistency. There's yeah, exactly. There's
UEFA, FIFA.
they
They're
just
not.
trial things for one tournament, then take them
Yeah.
out the next. Like I don't get it, man. It's just like there's no like I don't understand. Like we went from like I'd say like 10 years ago, we haven't had changes in football like this for like 15 years, 20 years. And all of a sudden now in the last like 5 years or so, VAR mixed with flipping these automated offside decisions and then like flipping some leagues have goal line technology, some leagues don't. Like it's just it's so like all over the place, bro. And they now I don't know, they tried what tournament was it? I think the Copa America. They're doing like the refs. They're connected with mics and they announce stuff to the
uh,
crowds. And
NFL.
this like the NFL, yeah, like and obviously they're gonna flipping never bring that to Europe or something like that.
Well,
Or
Copa
like
America was just like a testing ground for all these new rules. There was
the
no
the Copa
round of
America
six,
is like,
no round of 16, no extra time, or something else as well.
bro, the
What
drama in Copa America, man. Like,
that meme where it's just everyone fighting and then the tactical like movements on the Euros.
bro, like yesterday, man, like. The final Copa America, bro, is like delayed for like an hour and a half because flipping fans breaking into the grounds
Yeah,
and
I saw all that shit.
sneaking in through like ducts and vents and stuff, man. Like some third world stuff, bro. But yeah.
Crazy.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, like going back to England, I think we'll end it on this is going forward now. Because obviously now the tournament's done.
We've
Southgate
got to
might.
look to the next tournament, World Cup 2026.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be in the US, obviously. A lot of these players are gonna be, developing in terms of there's a lot of young players, and I think there's also some players probably that shouldn't be making it into that tournament. But obviously, in terms of the manager, obviously if he does go, he will go now. If he doesn't go now, then he's going to be there for the 2026 World Cup.
Yeah.
So in terms of the manager, um, I know we were having a discussion the other day. There's not that many available managers that you really feel stand out. But if
They'll
you
go with an English one, won't they?
exactly, yeah, I mean like foreign manager will be tough. I don't see it personally, but few names that you would suggest that you think maybe
I
would
mean,
be a
only
good
like
fit.
I've seen four, like I don't know if it's bookies or just some tweets that are just said like leading the race of these four managers. And it's like um Potter, Tuchel, Pochettino, and someone else. I mean, personally, I think
Poch would be good.
yeah, he could be. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind at all. I
He's
mean,
been in England for many
I've said Pep
years.
Guardiola for the last 2 years because I think
That's the fantasy,
he's
man.
gonna leave one. He's gonna leave a City in a year, man. Just watch. Um, so, you know what? I think if Eddie Howe was available, the FA would like not take him.
Yeah, yeah, he would be a
But
good.
I don't think
They'd love
he's.
him.
It's too late in the like. It's too close to the season to like maybe Newcastle and Eddie wouldn't want to leave maybe now. But for example, let's say the end of next season, Eddie's like, yeah, it's time for me to go. Maybe like a Tuchel comes in for Newcastle. I don't know, someone like that. Um, I think I would like to see Eddie. I like to see Potter, just someone who plays a bit more.
I think those two are the main like English candidates that probably people would be like, yeah, this is a bit more like, like it might be a bit more attractive for this team. They actually would play a bit more of a
Yeah,
style.
it's just you got to upset some players, right? We have. I mean, even the golden generation, there was a lot of egos and a lot of people, star players, saying, "No, I should play. I should play." But as the manager, you just got to be like, "Fuck you! I'm the manager. Like, I'm going to do what's
Established
best for the
authority,
team, not what's
exactly.
best for you." And at times, like, yeah, Southgate maybe hasn't done that, but again, you just got to admit when things are not going right, and he has done that. I think he said after every game, like, it's not been our best performance, and it hasn't. But we should be going into the 26th World Cup again with expectations that we should go far in the tournament, and if not, win it. I mean, early prediction because it's 2 years away. So, but again, that could be another tournament where there's not maybe a clear favorite. I mean, now Spain, yeah, there'll be a team to watch out for. Um, watching South American teams, obviously Brazil probably be there, but they
No, I think for me in South America, it's only Argentina that are really gonna be
again
like,
Is Messi going to be there? Maybe not.
yeah,
Maybe
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
exactly.
I
So
mean,
again, we should be going to that tournament as like we put sorry, on paper probably one of the best squads,
yeah, yeah, it
if
should
not the
be
best. But we've
as
done that.
always.
It
Yeah,
has that. It has been like that for the last two or
yeah,
three
two,
tournaments,
two,
hasn't
three
it?
tournaments. Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
just where the frustration from England fans comes from. Like, and of course it's a final. No one wants to lose a final, but let's get some perspective. Like before Southgate, we're fucking getting knocked out in like the groups and fucking not even qualifying for tournaments. Just a bit of
yeah, but
perspective.
then people, I've seen that as well, and people will go, yeah, but we didn't have the talent that we have now. We didn't have the quality of
Well,
players that we
we
have.
didn't qualify for the Euros in 2008, and we had like a
Yeah,
crazy team then.
Prime Rooney and this. Yeah,
Exactly. Like enjoy these moments because they don't always come around. You
it's
know,
true.
we've lost a final, cool, and well, if we didn't fucking play well at all in any of the games, but again, like, there was some cool moments, and
No, I think there's also that sense of English entitlement that, like
yeah,
we are, like we are meant to be a nation that's, all the football's coming home and this sort of stuff. We're a nation that's meant to be like
we're
leading
just
in
a bit
terms of,
obnoxious
yeah, yeah. I feel
now.
there is an element of that. I think like, yeah, we haven't the nation hasn't won anything since '66. So like,
English people in Benidorm fucking burn that shit down. People are canceling their holidays because like to Spain. I've seen like tweets like fucking cancel the Lanzarote trip.
yeah, nah, I feel like tourism there is gonna be peak. Like,
Did you see in Barcelona like they're fucking like water gunning tourists in Barcelona?
what?
You seen that? Yeah, like
Nah.
the locals like don't want as many tourists and stuff now, so they're just going around restaurants and like spraying them with water.
Water guns.
Yeah, yeah.
What
So
the
that's
hell,
funny.
man?
Yeah.
Flipping hell.
But the closing remarks. I think we've said a lot. Said most of what we want
No,
to
it's,
say.
it's
To be
not
honest
coming
with
home,
you,
man. It's not coming home.
it's not.
Yeah,
It might one day. We have to go
we
through some.
got they got to stop. They got to stop, man. I
That
think
song needs to be retired.
that
I'm
yeah,
sick
that
of it
song
now.
that song needs. Yeah, it's gone now, man. Like it's just
It
it's
came out of nowhere because I don't remember it in like the earlier tour, like the 20.
nah, yeah, 2014. I don't yeah, like
Yeah,
2014, 26. I don't remember. It was literally only
ever since the
World
like
Cup.
2018 World Cup,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
2018 World Cup. Since then, it needs to
Yeah,
stop now. Needs to get rid of it. New one. We need the Gillette advert. Then someone needs to render that as as an England song.
exactly. All right.
But
Well,
yeah,
yeah, that's our Euro England final, Spanish final recap, I suppose. I'm sure maybe we might do a video on like that whole tournament as a whole, just
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I think.
play the tournaments and maybe some shout outs to games and specific stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has any, obviously, you know, points about the games, about the tournament, anything you want to comment about England, just leave it in the comments.
Mm.
Um, like hopefully we're on TikTok as well now, so we're uploading a lot of TikTok. So if anyone comes from YouTube, obviously, have a look at our TikTok in the bio. Um, we'll upload like stuff like this and like some short clips and stuff. But yeah, if you want to interact with us, obviously, and speak with anything, then just leave it in the comments. And we'll see what happens in England, man. We'll see what happens in the next few tournaments.
Well, stop thinking about England now. It's Prem coming back.
Thank God, man. Thank God for our football's
Time for
back.
our FPL teams to be put in.
Finally, man, some entertainment.
Yeah.